Coming up in the wake of the flooding, see how one community center is giving families a safe space for healing.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. It's been nearly 2 months since deadly flooding devastated Eastern Kentucky. What people experienced was both catastrophic and traumatic. We have seen the visible scars of flooding play out before us, but it's what we don't see that those waters left behind that leave an even deeper mark on the communities and people where it happened. Amber Philpott recently talked to some of the youngest flood victims and saw how one community center opened its doors in the wake of what happened to be an outlet for a mental health break.
It is a soothing sound meant to be relaxing. The water here in this Letcher County community flows to a place that was spared when the water wasn't so tranquil.
Cowan Community Center has been a part of the community since I was a young girl.
Valerie Horn calls this little slice of heaven tucked outside of Whitesburg a blessed ground.
The space is a comforting space and a healing space.
The Cowan Community Center has been serving children and families in this area for more than 50 years.
We were also very fortunate when we could reach the space to learn that it had not flooded.
But Horn knew the devastation around it was widespread, and a place already dealing with so much.
No one deserves the disaster to have their home swept out from under them in the dark of the night and the early morning.
And it was then that Horn knew this space of serving would play a part in the healing moving forward.
Within a few days, we realized that this was a critical space that needed to be utilized also. And we opted to go with what we do best and what we know best.
And that's children. And for many, the scars of flooding are now deep-rooted.
I hear from parents just yesterday talking here, her child had worried when it began to rain. We need to get home, it's going to flood. We need to get home, it's going to flood.
The center's traditional summer program shifted into a place of escape for both children who experienced flooding and those who didn't to come together. Meals were provided, and simple things like games and art allowed for emotions and healing to play out in a very normal way.
Their well-being and their mental health has been a priority. And I think what has happened is a lot have had their safety shaken.
Andrew is one of those.
Like all the houses that got like swooped away, and like all the water just slid it away.
But despite losing everything, Andrew and his sister Ada have found joy in just being kids here at Cowan.
It's home. It feels like home.
Being family means we help each other and we're nice to each other.
It's not always just play. The team here has had outside help in mental health training, and a lot of times it's about just listening. We sat in on a moment where talking about your feelings was okay.
I'm really proud of all of you and the help that you're sharing.
You quickly understand that everyone here, no matter the age, has been affected, and that these youngsters have been looking out for one another.
It's been terrible. I mean, I didn't go through that, but seeing them get rid of their house just makes me feel bad.
Kristen Pauley is 11. Her family lost everything in their home and have been relocated several times. She was supposed to start middle school this year.
Honestly, it's really devastating to see all this happen, especially downtown in Whitesburg.
Kristen, being a little older, has been able to be a listening ear herself to those younger. She shares a bond with so many because of the flooding, but she admits talking to others about it has helped her own mental health.
It helps like take stuff off from your chest. Like it helps you let stuff out and talk about it, makes it a little bit lighter for you and to carry on.
This sign at Cowan really says it all. We love our children. And in a place where Valerie Horn says there's a tradition of just being tough and accepting the circumstances, she hopes that in the aftermath of flooding, these children know that healing takes time, but it starts at a place where love flows stronger than water.
There's a lot of resiliency in these youth.
That was Amber Philpott reporting. The deadline is a week from tomorrow to apply for FEMA assistance. People in 13 counties are eligible for flood assistance. FEMA says it continues to try to make contact with some flood victims. The agency says it's been unable to reach nearly 800 homeowners and almost 1,000 renters. Anyone who has applied for assistance and has not heard anything back should reach out to FEMA.
Well, we're watching quiet weather work through the mountains tonight, and enjoy it now because we do have some changes on the way as we head through the end of this work week. A look outside. Excuse me, right now all choked up about all the nice weather on the way. You see, it's all quiet down in downtown Whitesburg. Temperatures in the middle and upper 60s, even a few low 70s out there. We don't quite have the humidity in place that we've had the past few nights, so we're going to start to see some quieter weather take over, at least some drier weather, at least for tonight. Nothing on pinpoint Doppler. That's all ground clutter that we have to worry about. Put it all into motion. You see it all goes away. It's just low-level moisture being picked up by the radar beam. Keep that First Alert weather app handy, though, as we head through the next few days, because we will see temperatures dropping tonight into the 60s, but we quickly warm back up tomorrow into the 80s by noon and on our way to near record heat. Those details are coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Governor Andy Beshear announced infrastructure improvements in Bell and Harlan counties this afternoon, including nearly $200,000 to improve the water system in Pineville. The governor also said one state park will be getting some new lodging. WYMT's Keaton Hall has more from Harlan County.
I cannot imagine a more beautiful place.
Governor Andy Beshear stopped by the scenic Kingdom Come State Park on Tuesday to announce funding for infrastructure improvements and major park additions.
Days like today are good days, and we deserve a lot of good days. It's investments in this beautiful state park. It's repaving roads that lead to the school system.
$200,000 is going towards 6 new cabins and a shower house at the park.
We know that adventure tourism is the next step to help save our community and bring us back, put us back on the map. And the only way we can do that is if we have somewhere for them to stay.
The funding will actually come from a recommendation by Beshear to the National Park Service. It matches the community's own fundraising efforts.
The Harlan County Fiscal Court, Friends of Kingdom Come State Park, Cumberland Tourism, the Fraser Foundation all come together to put up the money necessary to match that grant to make it even possible.
And with special effort from the manager of Kentucky's tallest state park.
You know, like Mark Stoops has been for UK football, she's been that for Kingdom Come State Park, Sherry has.
Hoping to bring Kentucky to the top.
A large part of our recruitment efforts for the folks we're going to need to become that economic superpower that Kentucky can be. They're going to be drawn here by places like this.
In Harlan County, Keaton Hall, WYMT Mountain News.
One of the most beautiful places in our region. The governor also announced nearly $50,000 will be going towards resurfacing roads in Harlan and Middlesboro. Students at one Letcher County school returned to the classroom on Monday, while many others return tomorrow. Following flooding in late July, Burdine Elementary School in Jenkins was damaged. Tile had to be removed, a preschool classroom was destroyed, and the school's playground was carried off by the swift waters. Principal Amanda Anderson says she was worried how the students would feel at first, but after seeing the classrooms full of smiling students, she realized they were just happy to be back together again.
There's some of us that see these kids and see each other more than we see our own family and our own kids. So we're real partial to our building, and we want it to look pretty. I want all my kids to be happy here, and you worry that happy is the condition of the building, and it's not.
Anderson added that this tragedy is also an opportunity to build back even bigger and better than before. Now, Knott County students and those at Riverside Christian in Breathitt County also returned Monday. Those in the Letcher County school system go back tomorrow. AARP Kentucky is advocating for people impacted by the late July floods, investing in the organizations with boots on the ground. The organization donated $45,000 to Eastern Kentucky organizations today, $10,000 each to The 2 area development districts, $15,000 to God's Pantry Food Bank and $10,000 to Apple Red Legal Aid. Recipients say the money will go a long way towards their respective efforts helping Eastern Kentucky's hardest hit people.
We have received about 200 calls so far. The vast majority of those deal with FEMA assistance denials. So we are assisting folks in appealing their FEMA denials and trying to help them get what they are entitled to get from FEMA.
AARP representatives say the funds are specifically targeting people over the age of 50, many of whom are being helped by the organizations mentioned. With the amount of damage across the region following the historic flood, county governments are overwhelmed. But that's when groups like the Breathitt County Long-Term Recovery Team step in. The recovery team was founded by a handful of Breathitt Countyans who wanted to help people following another flood back in March 2021. Now the group is continuing their work, but on a much larger scale.
Once we got involved, certainly saw the need and the value to help the community. And so this group is a continuation of that. Plus, there's lots of other people starting to get involved because this flood is so much bigger and so much more destructive than the last one.
The recovery team is volunteer-based and funded through community partners and donations. To learn how you can help their mission, you can visit our website at WYMT.com. Coming up, a man is sentenced in a cockfighting investigation, and a firefighter and his family in London lose their home to a fire.
Plus, it's getting even hotter as we head into the day tomorrow, but we do have better weather on the way. That breakdown is coming up.